um, it's the day after. Um, it's November 9th. Um, and it happened. Surprise, surprise. It happened. Now, I haven't checked the news in about 4 hours. But when I went to bed, it was, Donald Trump, president. Wow. And it was like, what? 51 million people plus voted for the guy. I mean, 51 million people, human beings, like over the age of 18, voted for the guy. All right. Now, let's not make small light of the other one. The cunt puke bitch, crazy criminal mass murdering. That other one. Well, now she's been defeated, and you can almost say with a mandate, because the electoral college thing is like, how many did he take? And she's got like what? How many? Like a few, and he got all the others. I should probably check the news and make sure it's really still that happened. That wasn't just imagining that before I went to bed. Like a November Fool Day thing or something. I'm surprised, because I thought for sure Hillary was gonna, lie, cheat, steal, crook, con, bribe, murder her way to the presidency. In politics, it's pretty rough. People lie, they steal, they make false promises. They say things like, "Oh yeah, when I get in office, I'm going to do this," and they never do it. And in fact, sometimes they do just the opposite. And I understand the American people are fickle, because they just kind of they're like sheep sometimes. Not everybody in America is a sheep or a freaking mindless zombie freak, but a lot of them. And depending on what happens here in the next few months, or whatever, might even say there's a lot of mindless zombie freaks. I know at least 48 million mindless zombie freaks. If that may not be a totally true picture of people who voted for Hillary, but I was going to say when the election. I was going to say before the election. I was going to say, if you vote for Hillary, you're just like too stupid to talk to, or just, you just like like brain dead or something, or in a coma, and the walking coma people. But I read something last night. Somebody said something like, I'm not going to hate on you for voting for Hillary, because that would be like discouraging people to pick their own candidate and be free and pick someone of their own choice. Like, you think someone's going to not vote for somebody, a candidate, for president, just on my like, oh, I don't like you kind of thing. You know, like, oh, I hate you if you vote for Hillary. Like, I'm not going to vote for Hillary because D is going to hate me. You know, like I have that much influence over the human race, or Americans. You know, I really don't have a whole lot of influence over Americans. I know that. I think it'd be ridiculous for anyone to assume that I actually have any influence over, mass populations of a country. Or even a little bit. Let's just do this illustration. Let's say I ran for president, and I was running, and I was a candidate, and last night I was waiting to see how many people voted for me and see if I got enough votes to win and be the president instead of Donald Trump or Hillary. I hope that woman just freaking disappears off the planet now, and I don't have to ever hear or think about her again, ever, except in a history class of known but not particularly convicted criminals and not institutionalized insane people. Seriously, I mean, I hope when I go to the news today that Hillary is like not even there, not mentioned. No one even knows where she is. And her and Bill have just fucking disappeared off the planet. It's like overnight. Hopefully, perhaps to avoid prosecution, then you could add that charge of running away. I don't believe in that kind of stuff. I don't believe there should be a charge for resisting arrest or anything like that, because what else are you supposed to do? If you're like guilty, then I would expect you to run away and hide so that they wouldn't catch you. But if you're innocent, then there's a pretty good chance, in America at least, that you're going to get arrested and tortured and put in prison and maybe murdered, sometimes in your own home or on the streets, because that seems to be a trend in America. Murdering bastard police state motherfucking cops. And yeah, every cop in America is corrupt because they belong to the same club. You know what I'm saying? I mean, guilt by association. Sorry, I mean, that might not be a constitutional thing, but in principle, you can say, your buddies are murdering people in the street. So, yeah, I can say that, because if you're a cop, you're just as likely to do it as anybody else. Because cops are nasty, and I'm not saying every cop on the country is a murderer, but certainly gives aid and comfort to one, at least some. Because how many cops do you know that are arresting cops for murdering people? I mean, they even get the honor system. It's like, Officer Bradley, you pulled out your gun and shot this guy who was laying on the ground, on his face, in handcuffs, behind his back, and you shot him in the head 5 times. So, and you're saying it's like self-defense, and okay, just come on into the station whenever you feel like it, and we'll talk about it. And you should take a vacation until we figure out what we're going to tell the public about you murdering a guy. Yeah, that's what it sounds like in America today. Because I don't hear anybody like the sheriff or like the prosecutor in any town in America, saying to the police officer, you shot a guy? You mean shots fired and you shot a guy and he doesn't have a, he's unarmed and he was like running away from you, just stay right there, Sergeant Malloy. We'll send the car to get you. Okay? And a couple of detectives to investigate. And in the meantime, don't do anything. And since, you know, don't mess with the dash cam or your chest cam. Because if you tamper with that, that's tampering as evidence, and we'll put you in jail just for doing that. Because that's what we do with civilians. So, hey, you're guilty. I mean, you're just as, you know, you're not above the law just because you got a uniform and a badge and a gun and some mace and some handcuffs and, you know, a squad car and shit. So, just go sit on the curb and think about what you've done and decide whether you want to confess right away or whether we should take you into the basement and or the back room of the police station and beat you with rubber hoses until you confess. Well, they don't do that anymore, do they? Do they? Do you think? I'm not going to say a word, but I will say this. The policemen, they put people in jail in cages for doing things like totally not crime things, like, you know, smoking a joint. Oh, I see in a voting thing here that a few states like legalize marijuana or something. I also noticed that they wanted to put a 15% tax on sale of it. I'm sorry. I don't know. That's not really a whole lot of progress in the intellectual department here. I mean, let's tax it. And whoever said that, you know, fuck you, Nazi bastard. I mean, come on. If it's a plant and it grows and you can just smoke it or eat it, put it as a brownies or whatever, or, you know, refine it down into some like cannabis kind of stuff and, you know, cure cancer with it. Or if you're like got Parkinson's disease and you like shaking like shit and, you know, like you smoke a joint and, you know, and then you're like, oh, I'm not shaking much anymore. Wow, that just from a joint. You know what? If I had Parkinson's and I figured out that a joint of marijuana would make me stop shaking for a little while and give me some peace, I guarantee you I'm smoking a joint. And I will consider that my natural, inalienable human right. And common sense. And don't try to stop me. I will consider that a crime. And probably an act of terrorism and torture and stuff. So, you know, so all the cops in America, like, there's cops that'll, like, arrest you, you know, even if you're smoking a joint. Why are you doing? I'm smoking a joint. You're under arrest. Why? Because you're smoking a joint. But I'm doing it for medicinal purposes. It's helpful. I don't, and by the way, it cured cancer. Who was it? Jimmy Carter said he smoked some pot and cured his cancer? I'm thinking, Jimmy Carter? Do you think Jimmy Carter, the Christian? Who is a pretty good example of a decent man, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I'm not saying he's perfect. Who is? But if he is like, I'm praying to God, he'll cure my cancer. After all, I am 150 years old, and I probably should be dead like a long time ago. But, and I probably committed some crimes against humanity somewhere along the line, like back when I was president there for those 4 years. I don't know. I got any history records on that? Anyway, Um, so if Jimmy Carter says marijuana cured his cancer, hey, I mean, I don't know. That's not particularly scientific evidence right there, but I just I don't I think I'm stuttering, and I haven't had any joint or anything else to drink this morning. Well, a cup of tea, but and I've still got like about 4/5 of that in the cup. What are you smoking, D? I'm smoking a Cool M. A Cool M, which is not really that cool anymore after 50 years or so. And, you know, I'd like to have a decent cigarette. Perhaps a marijuana cigarette would be nice about right now. Anyway, I don't have Parkinson's, so I'd have to find another reason for taking it for medicinal purposes, like, let's say, to ward off cancer, which I may or may not have. I mean, you know, I could. I don't think so, but I could. At any rate, if you're a cop, if you're going around putting people in jail for stuff, and they have every right to be doing what you're putting them in jail for doing, then you're not a nice guy. And, you know, you may be like a misguided nice guy, perhaps, I guess. Like, you're just misguided because you think you should go around putting people in a cage and arresting them and shit and beating them up and tasering them and trying to, you know, practice, you know, maybe killing them, because tasering someone could kill them. We know this for a fact. And, for example, tasering me on the chest could probably stop my heart. And if I had a pacemaker, you know, forget it. I'm dead. I'm fried. So I'm thinking, if you're using a taser on somebody, cop, I'm not talking about in the basement with the girls. You know, that's for fun, and that's not quite the same thing. What did you say, D? I said, well, you know what I said. You heard me. And if I didn't hear me, you can always play back and, you know, listen again. So this is something about tasers and the girls. All right. Do you do that, D? Shut up. I'm not talking about that. That's not the point. That's something. That's another show that's probably rated XXX, which we'll get to later sometime. Not necessarily right now or today, even. Maybe tomorrow, next week. Something for you guys to look forward to. All right. Oh, by the way, I like girls. Did I mention that? Anyhow. And if you don't like girls, you're not exactly normal, are you? Not that there's anything wrong with not being normal, but if you're a cop, well, you're not normal. I doubt it, because you belong to an organization that actually murders people, and a lot of times seems to get away with it. Because the government you work for is corrupt and evil. And if I say evil, does that imply that I believe in God? That, you know, like God, good, and evil, devil, bad thing? No. But if I do, then I'll take that back. I retract that if that's what you think. I mean, for you. Most people would just say, yeah, there's evil. I mean, like psychopaths are evil. You don't have to have a God or a devil or a heaven or a hell to be an evil person or to call other people evil. I could just say bad people, or psychopathic monsters or demons or devils. Wow, you know, words are words. Anyway. What I'm saying is, I don't know why that came up, that picture. Anyway, all right. So what I'm saying is, what was I saying? I remember. I was talking about Donald Trump, president. Wow. Well, president-elect. Um, I'm assuming it's still true, because I went to sleep for a while, like 3 hours, which is not very long. I'll probably get really sleepy after a bit. But I promised myself that I'd be awake when the mailman comes because he's going to bring me some goodies, and not marijuana. Nope. Just some regular old items that, common stuff that I want and ordered and I want, and I look forward to it. So anyway, don't want to miss the mailman. Or a woman, as the case may be. All right. Oh, don't get me started on that mailman, mail person deal. Garbage. Politically correct. No. Mailman's a mailman, even if he's a woman. Sorry. That's the way it works. Words mean what they mean. All right, let's see what's going on. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Not that much. It's a little early yet. So, Donald Trump. Popular vote, from what I saw last night, or early this morning, was like 51 million. That's a lot of people. It's about what? About a sixth of the population of this country? Sixth of the population. So what about the other people? Well, you got almost, like, what is it, 48 million or 49 million for Hillary. That's not a small number of people either. So that would mean that's over 100 million people voted for those two. And plus a few other miscellaneous hundreds of thousands, or maybe, I don't know, 1 million for the other candidates. I know who I vote for, and I'm not telling you because then you're business. But I would tell you if I voted for Hillary. I would. So you could properly disdain me and have contempt for me. Because, I want people to have contempt for me. Hey, if you're not guilty of anything, you don't have anything to worry about. Unless you're in America. Because even in America, which is like, reminds me of what what I imagined Russia was back in, the 60s, 50s. KGB and secret police and all that going around and causing mischief and hurting people for thinking and saying stuff that the government didn't like. Like, I want freedom, and I don't like communism. It sucks. And then, they come around in the middle of the night, drag you out of your house, and throw you in the dungeon or wherever they put people in Russia, and then maybe ship you off to Siberia, and then poof, you're gone, disappeared, just because you said, I don't like the government because they killed people, like my family. And then they arrested me and put me in prison for no reason because I didn't do anything. Well, yeah, I said something like, I hate the government and communism is fuck shit, and I don't like it. Anyway, I imagine it's pretty rough in Russia during the communist Soviet Union era. And it's probably pretty rough in the country now, even though they're supposedly some sort of democracy, free place. I wouldn't say democracy because I kind of don't like democracy, because I think it's like the word means, and in practice it's like all of the wolves deciding what they're going to have for dinner. In freaking, if one of them is like, a chicken. You understand what I'm saying? It's called tyranny by majority. So There you go. So let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and look and see what this is. Here is an email notification if someone made a comment. I'm not particularly impressed by this. There's this guy who run for president in some kind of party, I forget what party it is, named Castle. And then maybe there's Mr. Bradley, who was the vice presidential candidate on whatever the party was. What party was that? Castle. Constitutional Party or something? Constitution Party or whatever party. I don't know what party he ran for, but I kind of did a little background check on this guy. And you know what? He's a fucking Christian. You know, mindless zombie zone freak kind of guy. And like, sorry. I don't think, this is the 21st century, and I think putting Christians in government positions is, shall we just say, not something that is really legal, because they can't possibly obey the Constitution and the laws of the land if you're Christian, because Christians don't believe in freedom and freedom of thought and independent thinking and intelligent reasoning, because they don't do that. Seriously. No, I know. You're a Christian, you're listening, you're saying, oh yeah, you bastard, you calling those people stupid. Yeah, you're delusional and you're not smart. Sorry, because, if you have an IQ of over 40, you know better. All right, I have to make that up. If you got an IQ of over 110, then, you should know better than to believe in mythological nonsense, because it's the 21st century, and, there's just so much information in the world today that's scientific, proven information, like the sky is up, and the earth is round, and other things like that. And sex is natural, and abortion is somewhat of a natural thing that occurs in nature, and sometimes it's a medical procedure that doctors perform for the benefit of the patient. And legally speaking, in government terms, you don't have rights if you're not a living, breathing human being. You're not alive, so you can't be free. You can't have rights because rights apply to people who are alive, and you're not alive if you're a fetus, because it's just a living fetus, not a living human being. You have to be popped out in the real world going, I'm alive, before you can be called alive. Otherwise, you're not alive yet. Now, I know it's a life form, okay? A fetus is a life form. So is a fucking maggot. So is, let's say, a tapeworm. And a sperm, and an ovum. Right? In fact, a woman's egg inside there, in the places where the eggs are stored, are human life forms. Pretty much like let me think, like a blood cell. like a white blood cell is like a human life form, in a sense, right? So a sperm and an ovum. How many sperm you got? I have caused the death of many, many human life forms in my life, like billions. And to be honest, since 1988, I haven't actually murdered them outright. I've sort of just allowed them to die in their womb. I mean, in the bag, inside my body, in my ball sack. They just kind of, they didn't go anywhere. They just stayed there and died. Didn't come out because the road is blocked. The tunnel is cut and burnt and tied and shit, and it's no sperm coming out of that baby, or either one of those babies. And so they're just in there saying, ah, and they die. And then my body just absorbs them, and they're aborted. But before 1988, I actually shot them boogers right through the tube out of my dick, and bingo, into the air, on the mattress, on the sheets, in the woman's womb, on her belly, let's not get gross here. Other places, let's say, with great joy and pleasure. And I would say that most of the women were saying, yeah, that was cool. I'm not saying all of them, because there were some ice cubes there, but let's not get into that. How many wives you had, D? I've had a few. You can count them on your hands. Well, I mean your fingers. All right. And anyhow, so what I'm saying here is Donald Trump won the friggin' election thingy, and he's like gonna be the president in a couple of months. Wow. That's just wow. Wow. By like 51 million plus votes. I mean, that's amazing. I guess some people just said, like, yeah, they said he was a bad guy and he did this and he did that and he said that and he talked dirty and he said he wanted to grab, and he's talking about grabbing pussy and shit, and I guess it didn't matter to some people. On the other hand, Hillary says, I killed somebody, and, you're not going to put me in jail because I'm Hillary the freaking God Clinton. Or maybe she just says, I'll send Bill over to talk to you in the airplane and tell you that if you bring charges against me, he will have you killed. Well, maybe he wouldn't have you killed because Hillary probably takes care of that herself. Hey, bro. Hey, make a lie. Go over there and kill that woman. Give him 2 shots to the back of the head and we'll call it suicide. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I think Hillary knows damn well what I'm talking about. I think Hillary is guilty of murdering people. But that's just like an opinion. I don't have any evidence. But it's not my job. I'm not a court. I'm not a jury. I'm not a judge. I'm not a prosecutor. I'm just, let's say in the world of public opinion. In the world of public opinion, I go with the Hillary is guilty of murder. And Hillary is guilty of treason. And Hillary is guilty of being, a psychopath. So I'm just hoping that now it's done and she and Bill can disappear off the face of the earth and be gone. And just, I don't care how they're gone, just gone. Back when Bill was president, I kind of liked him. I thought he was cool. Hey man, A hippie is president. Yeah. Didn't inhale my ass. Didn't inhale. Right. And people said, yeah, I'll believe that. And then other people said, liar. But, oh, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Yeah, apparently you did. Right? Because you did say, oh, yeah, I did. I think he said maybe he did. At any rate, Hillary didn't kill him. And I wonder why. Because, she needed him so she could run for president. It's been the plan for the past 20 years or so. Anyhow, I think Hillary is guilty of bad things. I know she's responsible because the information I have gotten, the evidence says that she is connected to the murder of 74 innocent men, women, and children in Waco. Branch Davidians, people that were not doing anything to anybody, just minding their own business. I'm talking about women and children who are not guilty of anything because they're children and they didn't do anything. They were they're too young hold a gun, but oh yeah, let's just run a tank into their home and cause things to blow up and burn and incinerate these innocent people. Hillary is connected to that. Some people have suggested that she even said, yeah, go ahead, murder them. Just run a tank in there and burn them to death. So I'm saying, I'm thinking, yeah, Hillary is guilty of murder. Those 74 people. Yeah. Directly or indirectly? I think mostly directly, because I think she was the person in the White House that said, yeah, go ahead and do that. I mean, Bill is just, getting his dick sucked, so I'll take care of that for you, Bill. Just go ahead, get your rocks off in the girl's mouth, and I'll I'll take care of that for you, Bill. And yeah, because Hillary is that's okay, Bill, because I'll be in Lincoln's bedroom, licking off Susie Q and some other lesbians. Yeah. All right. So you get the idea. And as for going to Canada or whatever, no. If either one of them was elected, I wouldn't go anywhere because, number one, my country needs me more than ever if Hillary had become president. Trust me. I mean, I'm probably one of the few people in the country that actually believes that it's okay to kill murdering bastard bitch traitors. But not that I would do it personally. I'm just saying I think it's all right to actually arrest them, convict them, because the evidence says they're guilty, at this point. So I predict the election. I predict that the outcome of a trial would be guilty. Oh, innocent until proven guilty. Well, I've heard the evidence and she's guilty. Fuck this shit. She's guilty. There is evidence. We've got the evidence. The FBI, well, we're not going to file charges. Or recommend we file charges. You know what I'm saying. But, okay, so the FBI guy that said that, I mean, there are people that are, what is that woman named Lynch or something? I'm thinking someone ought to arrest her because I think she's guilty of something like treason and other things and being an accomplice to a crime against humanity, in fact. So Hillary, I know Hillary is guilty of something. Okay, for one thing, she was Secretary of State, which had something to do with murdering people in foreign countries, like soldiers, and sending those traitors and murdering bastards over to Pakistan to murder that guy in the middle of the night in his home. That's the guy they called Osama bin Laden, who may or may not have been Osama bin Laden, because I don't have any proof that it was. But at any rate, apparently someone was murdered and dumped in the sea. And if that's the case, then that's murder, because Americans are not allowed to go to foreign countries and shoot people. That's called murder. It's also called invading a foreign country and committing murder in their country. So I would think that Pakistan would have said, you guys that went in there in the helicopter and landed there, and you invaded our country, which is a crime against the law to come into a country, but you didn't even ask our permission. That would make you illegal alien invaders, and you came in with helicopters and guns, and you killed one of our people. Now, I don't want to say Bin Laden was like a Pakistani guy, but he was a resident there, which kind of made him a citizen of the country, because citizen means the place where you live. Duh. Words mean what they mean. So that would be murdering him, like shoot him in the face. Okay, because does he have a gun? It doesn't matter. You're not supposed to be in his fucking house in the first place. I mean, if a guy's guilty of a crime and you got evidence, then you get a warrant and you say, I got a warrant for the guy's arrest. And if he happens to be in Pakistan, you say, well, I have to ask Pakistan, would you help us and arrest him and kind of extradite him to America so we can try him for whatever he did, crime, like murder, and he didn't, that I know of. I mean, he didn't have anything to do with 9/11 as far as I can tell. I read everything he said that I could find, and I've seen all the evidence there. I'm sorry, I don't see any evidence that he had anything to do with 9/11. And I've never heard any evidence or seen any evidence that he had anything to do with 9/11. So why did they have to go to Pakistan to murder the guy? I mean, if you want to murder somebody for committing a crime like terrorism, then I can think of a few Americans that qualify. Do I need to name names? Of course, in America, if you actually kill somebody who is a mass murdering bastard like George W. Bush, you can say, you don't have to say murder them. You can just say execute them for crimes against humanity. Like they did that guy, what's his name, Saddam Hussein? Hung him by the neck. You know what I'm saying? And I think America, the United States government had a lot to do with that little farce, but not to mention the guy in Libya that was murdered as a result of the United States government's evil, criminal, treasonous, murderous crimes against humanity bullshit. I hope Donald doesn't do things like that. I really do. Though I'm afraid he might actually, have people tortured and perhaps murdered and so on. But I hope the drone thing stops at least, because that's just criminal. And people who are droning people to death in, let's say, other countries like Pakistan, Syria even, or Iraq, or Afghanistan, or, God forbid, Iran. I think whoever does that, if I find out Donald Trump is droning innocent people in other countries, I'm going to immediately call for his arrest and execution as a freaking crime against humanity guy. I mean, seriously. And I don't care what else he's doing good. I mean, you murder an innocent person in a foreign country, you should be dead. I'm sorry. It's called justice. In some cases, revenge, which you're entitled to if somebody murdered your family. Why do the terrorists hate us? Why do they hate? Why? What do you think? Because we've been murdering them for like freaking 100 years or something. So, guess what? Okay, 50 or 60 years at least. So, what do you think? What do you expect? The Americans, self-righteous fucking hypocrites. Hey, I'm gonna go and take over that country and steal their oil. Because it's ours. Okay? Guess what? I gotta go. Time's up. Time flies. I'll talk to you later.